thanks everyone for joining us this afternoon for what's going to be quite an important session for those of us who are working from home in terms of maintaining our workplace health. We're joined by Rhona Guerin from Tooronga Physiotherapy and Pilates. Rhona will be demonstrating a few things with us today, but also talking us through a little bit of the theory and some of the checks that we should be making. Rhona, if you'd like to introduce yourself to the group.
Hi everybody, so thank you Barry for that introduction. My name is Rhona Guerin and I'm originally from Cork and I've been living here in Melbourne for the last 6 years. I qualified in 2011 with an honours degree in physiotherapy. And just this year in February, I opened up my own practice in Malvern called Tooronga Physiotherapy. So just like you guys, we're all adapting to this new coronavirus situation, which brings me on to the topic as to why I'm here today. And that's to speak to you about ergonomics and your working from home situations, which I'm aware a lot of you are working from home right now due to the coronavirus. First of all, just a little bit of housekeeping. If I could just ask you to please have your audio devices on mute, just so that we don't get any interruptions and we can run quite fluidly through this and everyone can get the best from it. By all means, please ask any questions that you may pop into your head. And I'm hoping that you get as much as possible out of this session that you can take home and adapt to your situation. Okay, so without further ado, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background as to why I think this topic is so important. Number one, it's very important because we don't know how long this coronavirus is going to have effects on how we live our life. And that means how long you guys will all be working from home. I was working in South Bank for a number of years. And on a regular basis, I was treating corporate clients who were sitting in a relatively ergonomic, safe environment and working from, modern office buildings that had all the mod cons. But I was still seeing them on a very regular basis for neck pain, back pain, repetitive strains, all issues that one incurs from sitting at their desk. And what made that very clear to me is, despite having a good ergonomic situation, if that's not coupled with the correct education and knowledge of where your body should be in order to be optimizing its function, then it's counterproductive and you may still suffer some injuries. So what I'm here today, knowledge is power, and I'm here today to share with you some of my knowledge in which we can give you a little bit more power in reducing your risk of injury while we're all working in these uncertain and strange environments for now. I've been doing some virtual ergonomic assessments over the past few weeks. I've seen various situations that people are working from. Sometimes people are working in their beds. I've seen people working from the couch. These are all very concerning for me, because if you're working there, that's bad if you're working there from a day. But if you're working there for a long period of time, which is what we're kind of looking at now, you would be at a higher risk of an injury, okay? And I just don't want that to happen and for you to be suffering and causing yourself some injury when we can try and prevent that, okay? So without further ado, Barry, if we can have the spine up, that'd be great. Okay, and I have a spine here as well, guys. So as you can see from the diagram, the spine is made up of different sections. So you've got your cervical spine, which makes up your neck. You've got your thoracic spine, which makes up your mid-back. And your lumbar is down at the bottom, okay, where a lot of people will experience some issues. And then you have your sacrum and your coccyx. Now, I just want you to have a little note of the spine, okay? So as you go further down, the bones, the vertebrae themselves get bigger, okay? That's because the further you go down, that's where most of your weight is bared. Hence why the low back can be an area where people suffer most, because that's where the load is being bared. Now, I just want to touch on a little bit Barry, if you could make me live again, please. Okay, so if I was to be sitting with my hips rolled up towards my back, what I'm doing is I'm squashing the vertebrae at the front, okay? So that's going to cause the disc, the little cartilagey bit here, to push forwards, okay? Which will, in time, get worse, okay? Likewise, if I'm sitting with my hips rolled towards the floor, you can see I'm squashing up the spine at the back, okay? I always find it quite beneficial. So if your hips are going down towards the floor, you're squashing up your spine like this, okay? Which again is going to inevitably increase your wear and tear. It's also going to give possible increase in risk of impingement of the disc and the nerve, which can give you, again, further pain, okay? Barry, if we could go to the second page of the exercise, of the, yes, yeah. Next I'm going to talk about is the shoulder blade, okay, so your scapula. That's another really important part to focus on, okay? How I describe the shoulder blade is, it's almost like your tire on your wheel, okay? So if your tire isn't correctly attached, you're wobbly, you're going to incur an accident, there's going to be an issue. So just like the shoulder blade, if that's not, I want you all to get involved with this actually. I presume a lot of you are sitting at your desks. So think now, where is your shoulder blade? Is it sitting forwards on your chest like this? Or is it sitting nicely flat onto your thorax, onto your rib cage? Because that's the optimal position that it should be in. If your shoulder blade is sitting nicely onto your rib cage, what that means is that when you go to lift something or you pick something up, you're at decreased risk of squashing bones, squashing tendons, and causing them angry, which will in turn cause you pain. So far we've touched on trying to make sure the natural S shape in your spine should be there all the time, whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, or whatever position you're in, you should be thinking of the natural S shape in your spine. Likewise, we've just touched on the shoulder blade, how that's important for it to be set onto your rib cage. Next, we're going to talk about your head. Okay, so just scrolling down. Yep. Thanks, Barry. Our heads are very heavy. Okay. People are really alarmed when I tell them about this. Okay. So if you were to stand with your head neutral, as you can see here, it's about 5.4 kgs. Okay. And again, there is some difference between each individual and size and weight of heads, okay? But you're significantly increasing the weight the more forwards you go. So here in the last, the picture on the right, you can see that you're talking 19 kgs extra weight through your spine, okay? What's happening at the back when you're leaning forwards like this is that your whole posterior chain is working really, really hard to hold you up. Okay, it's also, just like I've shown you with the vertebrae in the spine, it's squashing those up, again increasing the chance of impingement and increasing the rate at which you get some degeneration. So this is a really important part. So again, let's get involved. Are you sitting at your computer? Is your head leaning forwards, okay? Or is your head nicely stacked on top of your shoulder, like in the left picture and like I'm showing here, okay? That's another thing that you want to think about. Barry, if you could scroll down again for me. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to touch on is the rib cage, okay? So what's really important here is that you see this woman, she's doing a sit-up, okay? I thought that was very appropriate because what's important is that you shouldn't have your ribs flared, okay? They should be nice and engaged into your rib cage. And upper abdominals should be kicking in order to do that. Likewise, you don't want them flared, but you don't want to sink in the middle, okay? Because again, that's extra weight that your spine is trying to hold up. So what's really important is that you need to be trying to think of being as active as you possibly can while you're sedentary, Okay, so you want to be thinking about having as much activity through your body as you can, so that you're decreasing your risk of injury. Okay, because when you're in these positions, a lot of muscles just aren't working, and you're lengthening them and tightening them. Okay, which will increase the risk of injury. Okay, so why is this relevant? If we can scroll down again, Mary. We've talked about the S-shaped curve in your spine. We've spoken about having your shoulder blades set onto your rib cage. We've spoken about how heavy your heads are and how it's most optimal to hold your head when it's stacked nicely on top of your spine, okay? And we've spoken about the rib cage and how that shouldn't be flared, nor should it be sinking, okay? You shouldn't be shortening yourself. Why would we want to take inches off ourselves when we could be adding inches to ourselves, okay? Now, so how do we adapt all of those principles while sitting at a desk? So here's an example of this model picture here. What's really important to note is he still is maintaining that S shape is in his spine, as you can see, okay? His shoulders are in line with his ears, okay? There's a nice straight line going down there, which means that in turn means that his shoulder blades are sitting onto his rib cage. You can see that his hips are nicely back in the chair, okay? That's another really important, because it also make sure that we're maintaining that S shape into your curve, okay? So little tips that you should be like watching and making sure you've got correct when you're setting up your home workstation is your monitor should be directly in front of you. So right in your eye shot, and it should be a few inches higher than your eye level, okay? Now, a few of you may work from multiple screens. What I'd suggest in this situation is the one that if you use one, dominantly, then that one should be right in front of you and just above, a few inches above your eye level. If you have a few, then I would have the one that you use dominantly in front. If you're 50-50, then I would angle them accordingly at the same angle off each other, okay? Now, both monitors should be still that few inches above eye level. In relation to your keyboard, okay, what's really important is that it should be close to you and again, directly in front, okay? So it shouldn't be to either side, okay? Your feet should be firmly on the floor. This means no crossing your legs, no crossing your feet or your ankles, because what you're doing when you're doing that is you're increasing the chance of impingement through your hips, okay? And it's just not, what I say to people as well is, try and be a square, okay? So let me explain that a little bit further. Whether you're sitting or standing, try and have the weight going down each bum cheek or each leg the same. So no standing with the weight through one leg more, and trying to evenly distribute the weight, okay? That's what's really important while you're sitting at your desk. Another, as I mentioned already, is that your hips should be definitely nice and back. If you're sitting in a chair with a back, it should be right back into the back, okay? Your hips should be there. Now, another point that people find quite interesting is that if you have a back on your chair, it should be reclined. I'm going to say that again because people are quite alarmed by that. If you're sitting on a chair with a back, it should be more reclined, okay? You're talking about at 100 to 110 degrees minus, so in the recline, okay? Why this is because if you're leaning forwards, it goes back to all that weight trying to be held up because your body's optimal when the spine is on top of each other, okay? So your body will always try to work and pick those back up, okay? So that, again, is really, really important. And another big thing is when we're all stressed and we have deadlines to meet and where people want us here, there, and everywhere, we can sometimes, our shoulders will start creeping up into our ears, okay? So what's really important is that your shoulders should be relaxed and again, set back, shoulder blades sitting onto your rib cage, okay? These are some simple things that are just really important, okay, to decrease the risk of injury while we're all working from a little bit strange environments, okay? And it's just about knowledge, okay, and trying to become more aware of where your body is in space throughout the day. So again, as you were sitting at your desk, is your, I assume a lot of you are at your desk at the minute, test yourself. Is your head sitting forwards? Are your shoulders sitting on your chest? If so, get them back. And the thing is as well is, if you start becoming a little bit more aware of these positions, you might get a little bit of ache, new ache. And that's simply because the muscles that keep you into these better positions haven't been doing anything with a while. So it can be normal to feel a little bit of ache when you're trying to be more aware of your posture, because it's just like going to the gym and working muscles that you haven't worked in a while. They'll be sore afterwards. It's the exact same concept with your posture or your more small stability muscles. Okay, so that's a lot to think about and a lot to take in. We can just scroll down again, Barry. There's just another little angles picture that these will all be available for you guys afterwards on a link to the webinar, so that you can assess things yourself at home and see how they're going. Okay, now I'm just going to talk about a little case that I saw last week. A woman had been, I think it was her third or fourth day at home when she started getting really bad headaches, really bad pain in her neck and shoulders. And we had arranged and had a virtual ergonomic assessment. Little things. I used household equipment. I used a shoebox. I used books. I used a book to tilt her keyboard. I used little household things. The one thing she purchased was a Swiss ball, okay? And she's going to go between her chair and her Swiss ball kind of throughout the day, okay? So she's not in any one position for too long, which can be really beneficial, okay? I spoke to her again, maybe a week after our after our assessment, and her headaches were gone. Okay, she still had a little bit of an ache in her shoulder blades, but she was at about 80% better than what she was the week before, just by these really, really small, subtle changes. Okay, that's a lot for me to expect you guys to remember. So another thing that I tell everybody to try and do is try and have a visual cue. Okay, so something on your screen that has never been there before. So a piece of blue tack, a sticky tape. Sometimes people prefer an alarm on their phone or an alarm to pop up on their screen. Whatever works best for you and your situation. What it needs to be is something that's never been there before, so that when you see it, you know what it means. And for some of you, you might drive a lot as part of your job. Then pop something onto the screen, onto the dash, or onto your steering wheel, okay? And every time you see that, that's your visual cue to think, is my head hanging off my shoulders? Are my shoulders sitting on my chest? Am I squashing my rib cage? Am I flaring my rib cage? And only then will you become a little bit more aware of the different positions and how potentially maybe you've been holding yourself quite bad for some time. Barry, if we could go to the equipment, please. Thank you. So I've just put together some different bits and pieces of equipment that I personally use myself and that have made a massive difference to me. And also just some simple household things that you can use to adjust and make sure that you're trying to decrease your risk of injury. So first, on the left hand, we have a saddle chair. Okay, so this one I love and I personally use, okay, because it discourages laziness. Okay, it makes you sit up and be active, okay, which is really important. The one beside it, again, is your saddle chair, but it has that support of giving you a little bit of a back support as well. What's important with, if you want to just scroll down a little bit, Barry, for me, thank you. What's important with any piece of equipment that you get is that it needs to be height adjustable. So if you're looking at a stool, that you need to be able to adjust the height. If you're looking at a chair like this one on the left, with arms and a back, the back needs to recline forwards and backwards, the arms need to be raised, and the height of the chair itself needs to be raised. It's very optimal as well if the bottom, where you sit, the seat, can be inclined and reclined as well. Now, as I mentioned already, with regards to a gym ball, that is an inexpensive way and easy little addition that you can have at home to go between. So what I've been suggesting to people is sit for the first bit of the morning. When it comes to morning coffee, get up, have your coffee, sit on the bowl till you have your lunch, okay? Change it up. That way you're not in any one position. And with the Swiss ball, it's a great way because, again, you're active. It makes you active, okay? You're automatically working on your balance without you even kind of thinking about it. If we could scroll down again, Barry. Yeah, thank you. And here are little things. If you have a laptop, okay, you're working from a laptop, you can get little desk raisers, laptop raisers, sorry, that will just raise your laptop up, or it can be tilted, and they make a massive difference. For me, in my own experience, when I started the clinic, I wasn't used to sitting all day. I'm doing a lot more admin work now than I used to be. And I was starting to get aches after 2 days of sitting at the desk a little bit more. I got a laptop raiser, and I'm so much better since, okay? And here on the right-hand side, you can see, just again, so basically you can go between sitting and standing, okay? A lot of this equipment is available, you know, in Officeworks, but I think they're running quite low at the minute, which is concerning as well. But I'm also teamed up with, as part of the virtual ergonomic assessments, I'm teamed up with a company working ergonomics that we're kind of doing as a duo, so we can do deals and packs for you guys. If you could just scroll down again for me, Barry. Super. And here's just another option of a standing desk. And again, an ironing board, okay? We're trying to make this as inexpensive for you guys as possible. It's at such an uncertain time. We don't want to be throwing money away on big expensive equipment that we may not need forever, but that we can try and adjust for now, okay? Another bits and pieces of equipment that are really important is a spiky ball, or a slitter if you have one. That can you can use against a wall, or give it a little rub onto your muscle or your neck. They're really important to have. Another thing I tell people to have at their desk or beside you when you're at home is a heat pack. If you start to get a little bit of an ache, whack some heat on it. Heat up that wee bag and pop it on, okay? Okay, so I've also put together stretches for you. So here again is more just laptop raisers and different options of laptop stands. If you could just go down again, Barry. Yeah. And then you have some more ergonomic mouses, okay? So again, what you don't want is you want your wrist to be as flat as possible, okay? You don't want to be squashing it up or down, okay? It should be neutral. And when you're sitting at your desk, what you're looking for is your hips should be in line with your knees, your feet flat on the floor, and shoulders, elbows, and wrists. Your elbows should be maybe just at 10 degrees higher than what your wrist should be, okay? Again, you can refer back to that picture that I put up earlier, which is a really good guide of where you should be hanging around when you're at your desk, okay? So that's a lot of information that I've kind of thrown at you. We're just going to do a real quick recap before I do the exercises with you guys. So what we're going to do is visual cues. Put something on your computer, put something on your screen, set an alarm on your phone, okay? And what that is to do is to make you think, is my head hanging on my shoulders? Are my shoulders coming around on my chest? Can I see my screen? Do I need glasses? Am I squinting? I was seeing a woman for a while, and she was in real bad trouble with her, in between her shoulder blades in particular. Turns out she needed glasses, okay? And that significantly improved her issues, okay? So it's just those little points that if you could just become more aware of, will significantly decrease your risk of injury at home. Okay, Barry, if we could have the stretches, please. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so we're all going to try these, guys. Again, I'm assuming that a lot of you are sitting at your desk, okay? So with this first one, you should feel a nice stretch down here, okay? Up into your head a little bit. So what we're going to do is get your hand, sit on your left hand, palm facing upwards. You're going to turn your head a little bit to the right and pull your head down into, what I call this one is smelling your armpit, okay? Hopefully we've all had a shower today. And you're just going to hold that for 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back up. And then you change sides, okay? I'm not going to do the whole length of each one. We're just going to give each side a go, but there is a set number of repetitions in that I've outlined for you guys. You can work on that, definitely, because what's really important is to gain on gains when you're stretching. If we can scroll down, Barry. Perfect. So this next one, again, you're going to sit on your hands, so palm facing upwards, okay? And up nice and straight, shoulder blades engaged, and you're just going to pull your head to the opposite side. This should give you a nice stretch down here. Okay, all right. And again, you're going to hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back up, change sides. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. The next one we're going to do is just lifting your arms up over your head, giving it a little stretch and a hold. Swap sides. I'm just a little bit conscious of time, guys, so I'm not going to go through the whole number of repetitions, but we will go through every stretch. And the next one again, Barry, please. Okay, this one is a really good one as well because it gets a little bit of the thoracic spine as well. So you're going to, it's like your tricep stretch. You're going to pop your arm over your head and then just leaning to the opposite side. Okay, so that's giving you a stretch all down your side. Okay, and you're going to hold 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we're going to just change sides. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the next one, please. So pec stretch. This one can be just, again, I'm just going to show you, I don't have a wall beside me to use. So you're just going to put your elbow to wrist up against a wall and you turn away and you should feel a nice stretch through the pecs here. Okay. Try and get involved, guys. Start doing some of these stretches now with me as we're going through them. And then it makes it easier for you to kind of get them into your head as well for when you do them yourself at home. Okay, and up again for me, Barry, please. Perfect. Up again. Sorry, I said up, I meant down. Perfect. Okay, and then you're going to do your forearm ones, okay? So hand out in front. And just a bit of overpressure, like this. And then the opposite way as well. Okay? And then obviously you're going to swap hands as well. Giving it a stretch, nice little stretch down the forearm, and then back up. Okay? And then another nice one is just reaching forwards, okay? And holding that for about 5 to 10 seconds. And then back up. And down again, Barry. Thank you. This is another lovely one. So if you could share with the back or not, it doesn't matter. What you can do is pop your right hand at the back of the chair, at the right hand side, get your left hand and put it on the bottom of the right hand side and just give your body a twist, okay? And holding that for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and back. And again, same thing, just changing direction. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And the next one is actually one that's possibly not easy for you to do in your office, okay? But it's one that I threw in because I think it's really good if you could try and do it every morning and evening, or now that you are at home, you can pop onto the ground and do it during the day, okay? As I said, these are all available, will be available after the webinar and available to you guys if you want them. I am doing virtual and ergonomic assessments at the minute. You can use book online. We're very much online. You can book online. You can get in touch via email or telephone, and I will definitely be more than happy to assist you any way possible. Okay. And as it stands as of now, I am still open and treating clients. So if I can help you in any way like that as well, please let me know and get in touch. We're taking it day by day here, and as long as I'm given the okay to stay open, we will do. We're just obviously adhering to all the cleaning and hygiene policies that we have. Perfect. So that's pretty much it from me, guys. Thank you very much for joining in. I hope you've taken something from this. And if you have any questions or any concerns at all, I am more than happy. Reach out to me, send me an email. My details will be up on the post with the webinar after this. So please don't hesitate to ask me anything at all. There's no such thing as a silly question. I hope you have a good day and I hope you enjoyed this webinar. Okay, thanks, Barry. Bye-bye.